What a demolition job. If I knew it would have been this dominant, I would have ran out, grabbed a croissant, and been eating it throughout this match review because wow. Wow. PSG 5, Inter Milan 0. And that was just one of the most lopsided games of football I've seen in a long time, especially in a final between two teams that I touted to have an amazing 50-50 matchup. It just wasn't even close, and that was what we call a masterclass. We'll keep this one pretty short and sweet because honestly, I thought there'd be more to talk about in terms of back and forth affair. But at least going into this game, the one thing I was wondering was PSG versus Inter could be the game that we saw between Barca and Inter if Balde and Koundé were fit. And obviously, Koundé started the first leg, but he got injured, and then Balde didn't play either. And still, we saw end-to-end action between Barca and Barca and Inter. But it could have been something like this if Barca had their fullbacks fit, because PSG, you could argue, have the best left and right back in the world. But the other team that has that argument is actually Barcelona, who have Balde and Koundé, who you could also argue may be the best left and right back in the world. PSG just put it on them, and Inter, it looked like a shell of themselves. Hopping into the match events though, early game, PSG were just knocking. I was like, Inter starting kind of slowly. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen here, but maybe they'll pick it up. But no, it just turned into an early PSG goal. Hakimi was found wide open. DiMarco playing him onside, and Doué found him, squared it across the box, easy tap in, 1-0. And then it was looking spooky. I'm not gonna lie, it was looking spooky for Inter. But even at that point, I was like, I've seen Inter do some amazing things in this run. It's not necessarily over for them. But soon enough, PSG, crazy counterattack. The pace in transition is just frightening. Inter can do nothing about it. Dembele finds Doué. He shoots it. It does deflect off DiMarco, but DiMarco had no bravery to stop that ball. Goes in 2-0, and clearly DiMarco has issues with these Neymar-influenced youngsters. Yamal cooked them across two legs constantly, and Doué, he wanted no parts of Doué in this game. These guys, and Doué and Yamal, who were both influenced by Neymar, clearly they're problems for Europe. These two are going to be problems for Europe across the next 10 years because wow, the way they're cooking. I know Inter don't play a traditional back four; they play with these wing backs, back five. So maybe you should say they need a more stout defender in that position, but it just wasn't even close. It was a demolition job. PSG had a couple of other good chances in the first half. I know Doué had an amazing ball to Dembele in the back post, and he couldn't finish that one. But overall, across the first half, Inter just looked dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Their midfield was just completely not in the game. Barella, Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu just completely neutralized, getting dominated by Vitinha. And honestly, the possession, it said, I think in the first half, it said it was like 62%. It felt like 85%. It felt like PSG just almost never lost the ball. Inter were just watching them pass the ball around. It was a possession masterclass. And Doué in the first half had a goal and assist. Super impressive from him. He had his way with DiMarco, like I said. And then you get into the second half. Early chance for Cavardona. He doesn't put that away. Ends up going wide. But nightmare for Inzaghi. He brings on Zalewski. Gets a yellow almost immediately. Brings on Bisek. He gets injured. I think he pulls his hamstring or something and has to go right back off. Just a nightmare. As a coach, that's not what you want to see. Especially if you're trying to scrape your way back into a game. It's cooked at that point. But then we get a Doué second goal. A genius flick. Well, first, Vitinha carries the ball, passes into Dembele, holds it for a little bit. Genius back heel flick, back to Vitinha. Perfectly weighted pass to Doué. He was able to finish it first time, near post. And it was cooked. 2-0. I was like, okay, there's still a chance. I believe Inzaghi can make adjustments. He's a really good coach to me. But 3-0, at that point, it was wraps. I no longer had any faith. Cavardona got a goal. Not much to say there. He was amazing as well. defensive work rate is just ridiculous from him. He's all over the pitch. And then the sub comes on, this kid, Mayulu, comes on, and within like a minute or two, he gets a goal. Barcola, who was fiending for his own goal because he's trying to get his starting spot back from Due. He's just ripping shots. He's whiffing shots. He whipped his one shot right on the side net, trying to go near post after he cooked the defender. Just unnecessary near post shots, honestly. But he's able to play a little back and forth with this Mayulu kid who goes through it, and he hits it near post, off the post and in. And he's celebrating like a kid in a candy shop because he's this kid in the Champions League final scoring a goal against Inter Milan to win it. And this is an academy kid for PSG. Just sums up basically their entire season, this entire project. And it was amazing, honestly. 5-0. It's ridiculous. Overall takeaways, man of the match, you got to give it to Due. 2 goals and assists in the Champions League final was a 19-year-old. This will be remembered as the Desiree Doué coming out party. He has arrived. He's let the world know, I'm here. This is his introduction. He's been great all season, but I think he'll have the most eyes on this game. So people are going to be looking out for him in seasons to come. And PSG's got a scary talent on their hands with Doué. And they already have Barcola. Doué's looking even scarier. So shout out to him. Obviously, Lamine still the premier young talent in the world, but he's already the best player in the world to me, so can't really compare them. Doué, in terms of an actual young talent that's not just on some freakish level, he's really impressive to me. But you could easily say the man of the match was Dembele. 2 assists, playmaking just through the roof. He was amazing too. Didn't get his goal, but still amazing game on the day. Probably the Ballon d'Or favorite at this point. Maybe the Club World Cup has something to say about that, but it's between him, Salah, Yamal, Rafinha, like these guys. And Dembele's got to be up there. He won the treble that all these guys were going for. Obviously, the French league, so there's going to be some trepidation about how much that's weighed over, Barcelona winning La Liga over Real Madrid and things like that. But still, unbelievable season from him. Truly been unlocked. And to me, low-key, the man of the match is really Vitinha. He ran the show completely. Midfield domination. He's just running circles around Barella. It just wasn't even close. He was a part of everything. Everything stemmed from Vitinha. He looked like the best midfielder in the world today. He was so good. Shout out to him. Just in general, it's one thing to lose, but I never thought I'd see Inter look that bad. Like, they were terrible. And you could say maybe it was PSG that made them look terrible. He did get outcoached, but still, they finally looked their age. Of course, they're an older team, but that hasn't stopped them in the past. Against Barcelona, who's also a younger team, they looked like they were going band for band with them. But maybe they just ran out of steam. Maybe Goat McTominay cooking them in Serie A, zapped all their ability. I don't know. They looked defeated already coming into this game, and it was really a letdown because you were hoping for a really engaging final, and they just did not show up. So Inter, I don't know. They were here 2 years ago. They lost to City. Now they're losing to a young PSG who's early in their project. I don't know where Inter go from here. Obviously, they're still going to be competing in the Serie A, but do I see them winning a Champions League soon? I don't know. They could probably get back to a final, but this team needs revamping. Then it's going to be a different team. I believe in Inzaghi, but it's looking spooky. It's looking spooky for them. If they buy well, which they always do, they do well getting free transfers in the market, they could be back. But you would hope this is where they peak, and then maybe they have to do their rebuild, and PSG are still on the ascension. But PSG just skipped the line and cooked them. So now it's looking spooky. And honestly, I'm really blown away by PSG. This whole year, I was impressed by them and their new project. I love the direction, depending on young French talent to come in, revitalize this team, connect with the city of Paris, get rid of these superstars, Mbappe, the ego, Neymar. I mean, I love Neymar. Neymar's one of my favorite players ever, but clearly it wasn't working out. The injuries were just ridiculous. Messi, he was just using them as a retirement home pretty much. Even though he's still one of the best players in the world, but at that point, but still, this direction has been genius from them. And for me, this meant like, okay, so instead of going for the Champions League every single year, just buying whatever amazing top name talent we could find, they were like, okay, let's build a project. So in 2 years, 4 years, we're constantly competing for the Champions League and we'll win a couple. But they completely are ahead of schedule to me. Bringing in Kvaradona in January was the game-changing move to turn this from the beginning of a project to, okay, now we're just one of the best teams in Europe, period. Genius, amazing business. They went from having an amazing front three already in Barcola, Doué, and Dembele, a French talent, and they said, let's just throw this Georgian in here. And now he's starting. Barcola's coming off the bench, which is a crazy rotation to have. And they look like, well, you have to say they're the best team in Europe right now. They just won the Champions League. And who's to say they're not going to be competing there in abouts for the next 5 to 8 years at least. I mean, obviously Dembele is not the youngest anymore, but still, he's not that old. He'll be good for a solid couple of years. Then you have Doué and Barcola going to be there for years. Kvaradona is still only, like 24? Like, the midfield's young. Maybe not Fabian Ruiz, but still. The defense is pretty young. They have to phase out Marquinhos eventually, but they might actually get better because Marquinhos, he's prone to mistake here and there. Really, this project is really scary. It's really, really scary, and Europe has been put on notice. This team is a heavy threat to win it every single year. Obviously, Liverpool is going to come back with a vengeance. Madrid's going to come back with a vengeance. Barcelona, they're going to have to answer to them because Barcelona are going to be ridiculous for the next 10 years as well. Arsenal are going to have something to say about it. City, you would hope, are a better team next year. Chelsea in the Champions League now. Yeah, nah. But still, PSG are right up there. They have to be considered the favorites going into next year. They're just ridiculous. And on top of that, the World Cup has been put on notice because Doué and Dembele playing like this alongside Mbappe and all the other French talent, France just got scarier. I know this is talking about the Champions League and Europe and club football, but the World Cup is only next year. And having this experience this year, Doué and Dembele, Barcola, all these guys are going to be looking even scarier next year with this confidence going into the World Cup. And to me, Luis Enrique might have just unlocked the perfect Griezmann replacement in Dembele for that France team. Because the French team, obviously they were still in the World Cup final in 2022. At that point, Griezmann's getting phased out. Obviously, Kante's phased out. Pogba has his own situation. The team, Giroud phased out. A lot of great players that were a part of that 2018 winning squad are getting phased out, and it's really the Mbappe show now. But now, and of course, Dembele was always a part of that squad, but more of a bit part player. Never really went that crazy in terms of actual production. But now you play Dembele in the middle, Mbappe on the left, Doué on the right, Barcola off the bench, and that's just talking about former PSG players. Like, there's still other amazing French attacking talent out there. Coman, Colomwani, just ridiculous players out there that can still be a part of that rotation. So, I don't know. France looking extremely, extremely scary next year. And they have to be the favorites going into that World Cup as well. And speaking of unlocking Dembele, Luis Enrique, he has to be in those conversations. Well, especially the conversation of being the best coach in Europe. He's right up there. It's him, Pep, Inzaghi, Flick. I know people are not going to say Pep because of this season, but it's still Pep. I mean, there's probably others you probably consider as well, but to me, those are probably the top coaches in Europe. I mean, maybe you say Conte with his history as well, but still, a treble with Barcelona 10 years ago and a treble with PSG this year, absolutely ridiculous what he's done. And it's not just the fact that he did it, it's the way he did it. Like I said, with this project being so early on, but the football they're playing, the way he unlocked Dembele, that right there is just a master stroke of genius. The way he unlocked Dembele into this false nine role. And the fluidity of the team, the front three just swapping positions whenever they want, all of them being able to play wherever. They have Hakimi playing up top, and Dembele will shift out to the right, and Mendes will push forward. The midfield all rotating. It's just so fluid. Only the center backs really are solid in their positioning. It's amazing football to watch. It's one thing to win, but the style of play is beautiful. And you have to say the PSG project has been a success now. It's taken a long time to get here through all the trials and tribulations of all the stars, but at this point, it's a success. It's absolutely a success. And one of the stars who left the most recently, Kylian Mbappe, last summer, finally leaving, abandoning PSG for Madrid and the glory. Last year, Madrid won the Champions League and Mbappe was on PSG. This year, PSG won the Champions League and Mbappe's on Madrid. Now, I'm not saying Mbappe is the issue, because clearly he won the European Golden Boot. He's still one of the best players in the world. But the common denominator of not being part of that winning team is him. And I know for a fact Mbappe broke his TV watching this final, because his boy, Dembele, who is always compared to, just won a Champions League before him, should be way ahead of him in the Ballon d'Or rankings. If Mbappe even sniffs Dembele in the Ballon d'Or rankings, it's rigged. I already know it's rigged. That should not even be close. Dembele just had a better season, flat out. So Mbappe honestly uses as motivation, and we could see a scary version of Kylian Mbappe next season. If he comes back with a vengeance, like, damn. Now everyone's going to say it was me. I was the issue. And then this guy who I brought to PSG to be my French brother just went and won it without me. And the team I joined, the defending champs, we got bounced by Arsenal in dominant fashion. Now, he should really take that personally, like MJ in The Last Dance. But either way, what a game in terms of, well, maybe not a great watch in terms of competitiveness, but what a game in terms of domination, pure domination. 5-0, the new record goal difference in a final. Just ridiculous for PSG. And congratulations to PSG fans, the city of Paris. You got to be gassed. You got to be gassed. It's been a long time coming. So shout out to you guys. And thanks for watching, especially if you made it this far. The season's over, but the Club World Cup is right around the corner. Transfers to talk about. Talking about basically wrapping up the season, going into next season. Chelsea, we just signed Liam Delap. I'm excited about that move as well. We could talk about that in the future as well. But like I said, thanks for watching. It'd be really helpful if you do all that, the usual YouTube stuff. But I'll see you guys next time very, very soon. Adios.